You're listening to the Crystal Clarity Podcast.
Well, welcome back. Welcome to episode 28 of the Crystal Clarity Podcast. My name is Sarah Thomas, otherwise known as Star Wolf. And today I have an episode for you that, again, is about protection. We had an episode about protective grids with stones, and now I want to do an episode about protective jewelry that you can wear, and what are the most protective stone jewelry pieces, and how do you want to think about getting yourself protective stone jewelry or placing jewelry made of stone and minerals and crystals in the right places on the body for you. So today we're going to go into a couple of important protective stones in jewelry, some important protective placements, and then the relationship to the Tao and to acupuncture. And because there's a couple of really important acupuncture points that you might already be protecting, and it's cool to know where they are, or you might want to shift something a little bit to get over this portal acupuncture point. So we're going to talk about those. So if you're in a situation where you have something going on where you're realizing you need protection, and this happens to me quite a bit. There'll be different scenarios where I'm like, it would be wise for me to protect my home or protect my body or protect my field. Maybe you're starting a new endeavor. Maybe something that you're doing is growing and reaching more people, so more people are coming in contact with your field. Maybe you are, the stakes are getting raised somehow, so you're getting more in touch with more energy, or you've come into something that is a little bit more alchemical and it is time, it's a situation. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple situations as we go into the protective stones. But if you're in any kind of situation where you're like, this is a good time for me to think about a protective jewelry piece, stay here, because this episode is about this, and it's also just a summary. So I want you to know that this could go on for a long, long time, talking about all the minerals that could be used for protection and all the placements in jewelry. And so I did make a resource for this episode where I typed out all these things that I want to share with you, just notes. And so I have more in that resource. So it is probably linked in the description here if you're on YouTube, or you can find it whatever way that you're working. We'll make sure we put the link to this free document of notes in here too, so that you can get more information. I wanted to do this as a summary, but also give you more information in a document. So let's jump in. First of all, you're not crazy if you want to use stones and crystals for protective jewelry. It's been done since ancient times, forever. People have been getting stones as amulets, as protections, because the first people who ever had any kind of connection with nature noticed that stones were not only materially permanent, hard, they're the hardest things in nature, which makes them permanent and lasting and strong and unbreakable. So materially, it's the most important material on earth for protection when you think about being impenetrable or unbreakable. And second, they saw that stones have an incredible capacity to travel the non-ordinary realities. It's another one of their absolute superpowers. They are one of the best things on earth that this Mother Earth has made for penetrating into different dimensions and realities. And obviously we're talking about metaphysical protections, right? We're not talking about someone's about to punch you and we're going to hold up a big slab of hematite to block the punch. We're talking about the metaphysical reality that we're a part of. Stones have been doing this. I mean, ever since somebody picked up a little piece of amulet or amber to just hold in their pocket as an amulet, this has been going on forever. So you're in the right place when you're starting to think about stones and crystals as your protective jewelry, right? You might as well have a stone and crystal in your jewelry and not just a weaving or a wrapping or something, because this is what they're built to do. And as you all know about, stones really contend well with subtle energy. And as you know, when you contend with your own subtle energy, when you go within to meditate, when you go within to feel yourself, whether it's Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga or meditation, but whenever you quiet and go within and you leave behind the external world and you focus on the internal world, you become aware that you have this incredible spiritual anatomy. It's like our physical body is just 1% of what we are. We are full of layers of spiritual anatomy. We have living organs inside us that are like living governors. We have portals within us. We have connections directly to source within us. We have gateways within us. We have all of these fields inside of us that make up our spiritual anatomy. And when we go in and feel ourselves, we realize that not only can our body within make everything that we need, that everything that we possibly, it's like we have our own pharmacist within, we have our own herbal clinic within, we have everything, our body can make it. But we also realize that we can perform inner alchemy. We can start doing certain things with our own anatomy to heal ourselves. And that tuning into that level of who we are is what we're doing. And it's when I'm tuning into that level, really, it's only when I'm in meditation or quiet or something, I notice, for instance, the holes in my field that need sealed, or places where my fields are becoming penetrated, or places where my fields are weak, or things are being enacted upon me, or places where my sovereignty is at stake. So that's what we're working with, the spiritual anatomy. We all know that we have this, and Taoism, ancient Chinese medicine, they are awesome at this. They understand, they saw all the acupuncture points on the body like little lights lit up. They could see the meridian systems because their observation was so acute. It was a whole different level of sensory awareness. So they could see all these little acupuncture points in our body, which are portals. They could see all of this, so they understand what all of these different little portals are and what these meridians do. And they're really good at understanding the depth of spiritual anatomy, and that our organs govern all these different parts of who we are. And when we're looking at inner alchemy practices, the best in the world, or some of the best in the world, is rooted in Taoism. They truly understand how to work the field of their own body. So we're going to orient towards them a little bit, and towards this Chinese medicine perspective of acupuncture points, etc., as we look at protective jewelry, because if you've got a big gate on your body, you want to know about that. Because those powerful centers, like an acupuncture point or a chakra, they extend out into multiple layers of the field, right? They're in the physical anatomy, and then they extend out and can move into other dimensions and realities, right? We're multidimensional beings. I'll keep saying that. All right, well, so let's look at some placements. I just want to think about, just for jewelry placements, I just want to go from head to toe. So I want to start with the crown chakra, because this is such an important place to protect. And I have seen people with giant swords in their crown chakra as a energetic psychic attack, like vroom, like right down in there. People that are working with energetic psychic attacks will go after the crown chakra, obviously, because it's our place where we're connected to our soul, our spiritual guides, and our allies. And our whole soul, so all of who we are. So it's a very important place. Now, we call this place 100 meetings at the crown chakra, because it's the tallest place. So it's like going up to the mountain, the tallest mountain of who we are, and meeting with all of our ancestors and spiritual guides and animal totems, and all of these metaphysical spiritual beings can meet us there. So we stimulate this when we want to call in those spirits. And for jewelry, it's not like we can really create some jewelry headband that we wear every day where there's a protective stone over our crown chakra. Now, you might think of some cool protective jewelry over your crown chakra. You might think of some cool headband that actually covers the crown chakra, and you can wear it all the time. I encourage your creativity. But I just wanted to mention this one, because even though this may not be a jewelry placement, it's one for you to think about if you need protection, or if you're laying down receiving a treatment or giving somebody a treatment. This is a place to think about protecting with stones as well as stimulating. So moving down, I'm trying to call out some important places. The third eye here, right between the eyebrows, this is called yin tong. And this is a huge portal. These are all portal places that extend into our spiritual anatomy and are visible from other realms and other realities. This is a place where, in the Hindu cultures, there's so many of them, but we know that they wear the bindi right here, the little jewel right here. A lot of that is about protection, actually, because all of the programs and the thought forms and the spheres of thought and the circles of thought and, energetic manipulation of thought in the brain, programming, actually enters right here. So part of the bindi is just to block and protect that. We don't want things going straight into our pituitary gland or straight into our pineal gland or straight into the cave of Brahma in the center of our head. So that's an important place to protect too. And if you have somebody that is sensitive to those kind of energetic attacks like thought forms, programming, you might want to protect this, and you could create a magical stone headband. And they did do this in the past, and this would be a form of jewelry. And you could place it on people at certain times if they're going into a dicey situation. You could actually wear a magical stone headband, or you could get into the creation of stone jewelry bindis. And that is another point that I just wanted to mention that's important for protection. I don't know how you're going to get creative with these, but we're going to get into more that have more practical jewelry applications, but I wanted to bring those up. So now, your earlobes are where you wear, stone jewelry a lot because you can wear earrings. And this is a great place to protect as well. It's a great place for protective jewelry. The whole ear is connected to your kidney, which is the most powerful and deep organ that you have that governs pretty much all of the other organs. It's very important. And attacks that enter through the ears or just vulnerabilities in the ears can go down to a very deep level. And so you can wear earrings to protect yourself from like the Wi-Fi or the computer, or if you feel like you're being attacked in any way that has a sound component to it. And so this is a place that you can use, and it will be specifically guarding your kidneys, which is very, very important. So if you feel like there's any sound element, or you just like wearing stone jewelry at your ears, this is a great protection for the whole head, but also the kidneys. Now, moving down to where I have this funny microphone, this area right here, right at the notch of your throat, this is called celestial chimney. So just put your finger in the notch of your throat. It's called Ren 22 or celestial chimney. This is a very important portal on you. It is particularly connected to emotions. So it's called celestial chimney because we can release emotion out this point. When we do a stone or crystal placement here, or we do an acupuncture needle placement, one of the things that we're doing is asking the emotions to come up, for repressed and suppressed emotions to be able to come up, to get the tears going, or to get the voice to express or say what's going on. So that's an important portal. It's like a chimney. It's actually called celestial chimney. And it's also a windows to the sky point, or windows of the sky point, which means it's kind of like a psychedelic plant of points and can really connect us into some higher frequencies and higher realities and realms of heaven. So this is a really important point to connect. In martial arts, you learn to just jab this and it will take someone out. So physically, it will knock over a 300-pound man if you just jab this really hard. It's so sensitive because it's such a portal. And this is a really important place to protect, especially if you have some throat things going on, or you feel like there are energies after your throat chakra or your voice or your expression coming at you that you want to guard against. And of course, a necklace can be worn right here where it touches the notch of the throat and the stone protects. So that's a good level to have a necklace land at, to protect that if you have anything going on with your voice. Directly behind this is Dew 14, or Governor Vessel 14. It's on the base of your neck, right in the center of the base of your neck. This is another huge portal on your body. In fact, all of the yang meridians, there's a lot of them on your body, all converge at this point on the back of your neck. This means anything that comes into this point is going to immediately affect all of your yang meridians and your entire body. I mean, this is a big gateway with a big connection system connected to it, a big grid system connected to it. And so if we want to get something in the body, we can put it there and it'll get in. And so that's another place that can be attacked or under an influence. And this is why we always, in Taoism, we say it's more important to wear a scarf than to wear a hat, because we want to protect this point, because this is where all wind invasion and climatic invasion and cold invasions and other things that get in through this point at the back of your neck. And you'll totally notice this. Try this next time it's cold. See if a scarf keeps you more warm than a hat, and that you'll find that the scarf is so important because it's protecting this point. It's so open and connected to all those meridians. And you also know this from being in the shower. When you stand in the shower and just let that hot water just hit the back of your neck, you'll find that your entire body gets hot really quickly. You'll feel that, like, oh, this is a gateway to my whole body very quickly. So this is another thing to protect if you've got throat things going on. If you want to protect the whole body, it's a gateway to the whole body through that entire yang meridian system. It's a great thing to protect if you feel like something's coming at your back, or you're always trying to protect your back by contorting your body or your nervous system. And so that's a way that you could wear jewelry that touches this one and goes around and touches the back one. So it's kind of right behind this one. Now, let's keep going and just touch a couple other important things. So your heart is so important. Yikes, it's huge. Your heart is directly linked to the heart of the divine. This is where it's like the umbilical cord to your divine. It comes into your heart. And that's huge because that's your remembrance of who you are. Your heart holds your sovereignty. It holds your choice. It holds your clarity, an even deeper level of clarity than your liver, like true heart clarity. And it holds your, when we talk about your relationship with the divine, that's your sovereignty. And so many psychic attacks, spells, unconscious remnants, all of these things, they go right after the heart, because when you go after the heart, you can break that bond between someone and their divine, or you can feed off the bond between someone and their divine, or what they feel is heaven, or what they feel is good, or what they feel is, their God, what they feel like is like the light of nature. You can feed on that connection. So very sophisticated attacks will come after the heart. Protecting the heart is always a wonderful thing to do. You know that protecting the heart is a big thing if you are empathic, if you are in a hard relationship. The heart is all about relationship and connection with everything. So it's big. And another thing is that we are at a stage in our awakening where the point now is to open our hearts. That's like what we are tasked with now, is to open the heart. So to have something guarding, but also regulating, harmonizing, allowing you to open, but also making you feel safe, is really important. So it's a great place to have a jewelry pendant, a necklace coming down that lands right here. I'll put this in the resource. Ren 17 here is called Altar of the Heart. And you want it to land right within the breast, like right in line with the nipples. And I'll put it in the resource here, but if you can get a necklace made that just lands right here, it's also amazing for your immune system. It's guarding like your thymus. It's taking care of like blocking what can come in through the thymus, which is like a teacher gland. So this is just great for blocking other, things that are out there that are materially gross. So this is a big place to have protective jewelry. I think it's a go-to. If you don't know what to do, just do the heart. Okay, moving on. Wrists, I always wear these protective bracelets. I love protective. This is actually a ruby bracelet. It's natural ruby here. You can see the different colors of kind of natural ruby. And this is chrome tourmaline, which I quite love. And I'm going to talk about both of these and why I wear these when I talk about stones for a minute. But the wrist is a gateway. Your wrists are a gateway. It's an articulation, it's an opening. And the weird thing about your wrists is that all of these meridians run through your wrists. And what you have at your wrist is the source point for all of these meridians. The source points means it's like the lowest common denominator energy of the entire meridian. So it's like the foundation of the entire meridian. It's all of the energy of the meridian in one point. These source points are yuan points. They're very, very important. They conduct all of the qi in the meridian, and they're all lined up around the wrist at this gate, at this articulation. So bracelets here can really protect all of these meridians running here. And when you have the wrist, you have goodness, you have large intestine at the wrist, the large intestine meridian. You have the triple energizer meridian. You have the small intestine meridian. You have the heart meridian. You have the pericardium meridian. This entire meridian that's meant to protect you, the pericardium, and you have the lung meridian. That's a lot of meridians to be running through the wrist with having this gateway and this articulation that has all of the source point energy of all these meridians at it. So a bracelet is actually a great way to protect yourself. We have real stone medicine bracelets at the Clarity Crystal Shop. This is not a commercial. I mean, I am the sponsor for the podcast, but I'm not trying to sell you the bracelets. They sell themselves, but I just want you to know that we have them at the Clarity Crystal Shop, and they're real medicinal stone bracelets, and this is why we have them. They're for healing, and these ones particularly are really great for protection. So let's go to the rings and the fingers. So rings are great protective allies. And while I'm here at the rings, let me tell you the difference between an amulet and a talisman. So an amulet is something that is usually a stone that we work with to protect ourselves. Amulet usually means protection, like shield, like an amulet. It can mean other things. If you think of like an amulet in like an old scary cartoon or something, you could look into the amulet and you would get like hypnotized or something. So amulets are usually involved in magic. They're mostly involved in protection. An amulet's usually kind of a type of shield. And amulets are great and powerful and strong, and you can have stone amulets all day long and protect yourself with them. It's the difference between an amulet and a talisman is that a talisman is meant to actually transform your whole field. So not just be like a shield, not just be an energetic device, but to transform you. The talisman is actually meant to start working with you, transform your entire field, and take you on a journey. It's an alchemical tool that starts to take you on a journey. So with a talisman, it's like you start to bond, you start to see things about what you might need in these realms, and you start to, go through the alchemical process of your field getting transformed, which might be an initiatory process. But a talisman is something that's meant to transform all of you. Amulets are good. Talismans are good. Talismans require a little more, it's like having a pet. It's like having a child. It's like there's a relationship there that needs tended a little more than just the shield that you would wear of an amulet. And it might take you on a journey a little bit more, but it's good to have a stone like a talisman that's meant to transform your field, because it will help you become aware. What it will be teaching you, like, okay, here's what you need to see about your field and protection. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. So with the fingers, you can have amulet or talisman rings, or amulet or talismans for all of these things. But with the fingers, we have, where you wear the ring is going to protect a certain meridian or enter a certain meridian, because we have these different meridians on our hands. And so the pinky is for the heart. The pinky actually is the heart meridian running through it, interestingly. So if you want to protect the heart, the stone ring should be on the pinky, because it'll just go right in there. Now, if you want to support the pericardium, your bodyguard for your whole body that's meant to protect you, to support, you already have this bodyguard working 24/7 for protection, particularly of the heart. If you wear a ring on right here, your middle finger, you will be supporting your pericardium. Now, if you wear it on your third finger, you're kind of tuned into this meridian called the triple energizer. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that in the free resource, because I want to keep this somewhat of a summary. And you have your large intestine here and you have your lung here. So I'll put these meridians into the free resource so you can download it and see, if you have something particular going on in a certain area and you understand these meridians and what these meridians govern in you, you should pick a ring that connects to the right one. And then that can be an amulet or talisman for you for protection. Moving on down the line, you have ankles that are also gates and articulations, and that also have source point energy wrapped around the ankles for many different meridians. So you can wear anklets for protection and engage all of these meridians. And I'll put this in the resource too. And you also have toes, which are connected to different meridians too. So if you actually wanted to wear like a toe ring for protection, you could line that up to the meridian that you wanted as well. Well, let me move on now. So this is kind of like a summary of the body. Earrings, necklaces, what lengths to wear them at for what you want, bracelets, and rings. I think these, and we talked a little bit about headbands, but what I want to say really quickly before I get off is that there's two stones that I want to mention as really important protective allies and in jewelry. And one of them is ruby. Ruby is a very important protective stone if you are in a hairy situation. Like if you feel like something is pretty deep, pretty dense, pretty old. I talk about ruby as, you know, this woman I know, she met her partner, and the first time that she went to their house for dinner and she met his entire family, she looked at his mom and was like, uh-oh, I've known her before. And she felt she knew that whole family before. And she went on to have like the worst mother-in-law nightmare story and a very long, hard relationship. And she had known that whole family before. And she knew it that moment that she walked in there. And untangling herself from that was a miracle that took place over a long time. And this family and her had been going through things for a long time. You know, this is not just from this lifetime. How would she recognize them as soon as she walked in and feel like this uh-oh feeling? So when you have something like this that you feel like is not just from this lifetime, timeline, dimension, or reality, deep, old, long-lasting issues, you want to work with Ruby. Ruby is really good at untangling things that have been coming at you for a long time, things that you need protection against that are really deep, that may source from outside of this lifetime. I call it the Black Widow of stones because one little drop of ruby will take care of a whole field of Jedis coming after you, or whatever they're called. So it's a very potent stone. It's a very powerful stone. So ruby is something that I want you to consider when you have something that not only feels like it's deep and long going, but that feels like it's coming from a conscious bad intent. Like whatever is setting off this energy means to. You know, when you have conscious malevolence, that needs ruby too. You need strong medicine for that, okay? A lot of the things that come at us are unconscious and they're just going on. But when you feel like, oh, I'm getting that this is really coming from something conscious, meaning to harm, think about ruby. And one more thing about ruby is that whatever ruby that you have, I'm sorry to tell you this, but there's a 95% chance it is heat treated, dyed, irradiated. And that's okay. I don't want you to stop loving that ruby, but a real ruby, a real gem quality ruby is like $90,000. So you probably have something that was treated to enhance the red color to make it more affordable, right? And when we have those treatments, those can diminish the powers of the stone. So see if you can, over time, look for real ruby. And it doesn't have to be a big crystalline gem rock. It can be, I wish I have them actually here, but they're a little bit too far away. It can be just good, nice, hard, real ruby rocks. That's what this is. This necklace is, or this bracelet is actual natural ruby, and you can see that it's the red sapphire. And it's in these different colors kind of because it's not heat treated. It is natural. So ruby is something that I want you to think of when you need like the Black Widow of protection. And just one more, because there's so many I know, but I just want to do one more. Black tourmaline is on every protection list, and that's what these are, actually. This is called chrome tourmaline, or it's a black tourmaline with like a little bit of color in it. Black tourmaline is on every list of protective stones for a reason. It really is the best general protective stone, like everyday use, all day use, tons of applications, great for tons of situations that you can think of. When I first met my partner, the very first thing that I bought her in my big lovey-dovey phase of excitement was a black tourmaline ring, a big black tourmaline ring for protection. And she loved it. It was like, she felt like protected and safe and claimed, and like it was awesome. And you get a big black tourmaline ring to give to someone you love, to protect them. It's accessible and affordable, and it worked. And you know, black tourmaline is opaque and not, like energy can't get through that that opacity very well. It's mineral rich. It has incredibly strong minerals in it, like boron, for example. And another thing about black tourmaline is, why it's so good as a protective stone, like across the board. It's so versatile. It's because the grounding energy in this stone is so fast and so acute and so real. And something happens when we ground, when we're connected to the earth, that all of this change in our fields and our spiritual anatomy and everything that's going on with us automatically and effortlessly corrects. Because when we're grounded to Mother Earth, you'll feel this. Getting grounded starts just automatically, effortlessly repairing so much going on in our spiritual anatomy. So that grounded aspect, I feel like, is its secret ace in the hole. I feel like it's why it's so powerful, because it grounds, and then the earth, that connection with the earth can come up and start to do this work, seal some holes, clear some energy out of the field. Even tourmaline's awesome detoxifier too. So when it's clearing and chelating, it's like we get more clarity. I mean, there's just, the field gets more clarity, right? It's clearing out, so we're better able to protect. There's a precision and intelligence to it. So black tourmaline, if I said any of these placements and you're like, I really like that placement, but you don't know exactly what stone to get, just get black tourmaline. It will protect you in a great way. So I think that is it. I want you to get the resource. Click on the link. We will email it to you for this episode so I can just go in a little bit more detail about these placements. And I want to let you know too, before you ask, that if you need to clear or recharge any stones or any jewelry, we have 2 podcast episodes about that. And they are, just look in our podcast library. I forget exactly what episodes they are, but there's one about how to clear and recharge heirloom jewelry. And there's one about just how to clear and recharge stones in general. So, love you. Thank you for coming. That's a quick summary of protective jewelry. If you have questions, ask me in the comments. If you feel like I just enjoyed this and I want to hit the like button or I want to hit the subscribe button, please do that. I would love that. It would make me happy. And that's it, guys. That's the way that jewelry, protective jewelry, can transform your field and help protect you, which is actually needed. It is not hubbub. It is not woo-woo. It's actually an important part of being here right now. And that's a little summary on my stance on protective jewelry. Okay, I will see you in the next episode. Take care.